to today's Talk Business and Politics Daily. It's Monday, therefore we have John Brummett with the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette with us. Good to see you, my friend.
It's a newsy Monday.
You tweeted the Razorbacks to victory against Ole Miss. I'm very impressed.
I came in from playing tennis, turned on the television, and it was 31-7 Ole Miss early in the second quarter. And I thought, oh my God, they're going to have to fire Brett Bielema at halftime. They're just going to have to get...
That was the Florida coach that got fired.
Right. And I stuck with them and brought them back to a 38-37 victory. So all these people who accused me of being anti-Razorback, they need to understand. My presence in the TV audience turned that game around. Don't you think?
They felt the karma flowing.
It had to be.
That's what it was.
Had to be. I was very happy for them.
So do you think this puts you in a position to be in the running for the next head coach position?
No, but I should be on the broadcast doing the color. No. A lot of people rely on me on Twitter, and the greater television audience needs the benefit of
Note to Jeff Long and IMG, do not do this.
Yeah.
This would not be good. All right, we are going to begin with the big news of Monday, and that is that Paul Manafort and his associate Rick Gates indicted by the special prosecutor Robert Mueller on I think 12 charges. This is not a huge surprise. He was raided earlier this summer. There have been a lot of roads been pointing to Paul Manafort.
Right. No, it wasn't. I mean, the Mueller's people, FBI people, raided his house before dawn when it came and broke in the house before he was up to keep him from seeing them coming and, I thought, destroying some of the evidence. This is not about the Trump campaign, except that Manafort was, for a key part of that campaign, the manager, and he turns out to be accused of serious crimes. This is pursuant to the charge any special counsel gets on a matter like this, which is to investigate the central charge and anything else arising. What arose is that in looking at connections, foreign connections in the Trump campaign, they looked at Manafort, and Manafort, by this set of allegations, is quite an operator, money launderer, schemer, tax avoider.
Innocent until proven guilty.
Innocent until proven guilty. But there are those who are saying this has nothing to do with Trump. Well, this guy was the campaign manager, and these are his foreign business affairs, which are, by allegation, are very serious. That's how it arose. But it is true. This does not extend to collusion with Russians. Most of Manafort's dealings were in other countries and Ukraine. So it's ancillary to the central matter, except it's never entirely ancillary if it has to do with the man who was the campaign manager. So that's where, but beyond that, Manafort's associate, who also worked in the campaign, also brought in on charges. And then a short term.
And he's got a connection to a PAC that is a pro-Trump PAC.
That's right. And then it turns out that a foreign policy advisor to the Trump campaign, whose name is evading me at the moment, perhaps you as well. It's Papadopoulos. Papadopoulos.
Okay.
I think, somebody correct us, had privately, quietly entered a plea of guilty to lying about meeting with a Russian professor with ties to the Kremlin. Typical of these deals, it's not that he colluded and that the meeting with the Russian official was in itself something that was indictable. It's that he didn't tell the truth about it, which is how so often these matters go. What this portends about what's to come regarding Trump, I don't think we know. This could be the height of the charges, and everything else could be wrap-up. Or Manafort, by a common pattern, having been charged with a laundry list of things, the feds could begin asking him for information to tie up other things of interest about actual campaign activities in exchange for what he might plead on these assorted charges. That's a common tactic. That may be what's happening here. But we really don't know any more today about the Trump campaign and Russian alleged collusion than we did before. We know now what has been strongly suspected for months, which is that Manafort was in trouble.
Yeah, you still have the Mike Flynn thread
that is
out there that has some possibilities, and you still have the Trump-James Comey thread that has a lot of tentacles in it, I would argue.
We still have, but this Manafort has nothing to do with any of that.
I'm just saying, but the special counsel
the special counsel still needs to get to the bottom of whether the firing of Comey or the following the attempt by Trump to get Comey to back off on Flynn, what is all that about? And is there obstruction of justice there? And then we still have the Russians with ties to the Kremlin who came and offered Trump Jr. a meeting, and he took it. And whether that meets the statute that forbids foreign intervention in our elections or seeking foreign intervention in our elections, which I find to be an entirely gray area and hard to define under the statute. But those are the two things we know are still out there. Also, I believe, before we move on, let me make sure this gets said. I believe Mueller, and I think he is an honorable pro's pro, and these attacks on him are outrageous, but I think he is obliged, and he probably is already, looking into this matter of the Clinton campaign and the DNC sending millions to a law firm, reporting it as legal research, and we now find out that law firm then hired an opposition research firm, which then retained the services of a British spy, a foreign official, to find out information from Russians, foreign officials. Mm-hmm. I think it's possible, each side tries to use against the other, well, they did it too, or they did worse. I think everybody ought to be responsible for their own actions, and I think the American people deserve a full Mueller investigation of both of those things, and I think we're going to get it.
I don't want to drill down too deep into it, but we've seen a smaller scale of this in Arkansas, where you have somebody hire a political consulting firm and they do all of the services for someone, and there's never a detail on those campaign finance reports other than
here's
we paid a political consulting firm a lot of money.
That's true, and I think campaign finance reports throughout the history of campaign finance reports have tended to make general reports that may not tell exactly where all that money then flows. But that's kind of like laundering, and this is kind of a big deal because we're now looking into Russian meddling in our election and the whole issue of foreign intervention in our elections. And they've typically been handled as FEC regulatory matters subject to fines. But the FEC has the authority, and of course Mueller would certainly have the authority to treat it as a potentially criminal matter. I'm just saying, let's deal with these charges that each, or these arguments that each side cancels the other, and let's get to the bottom of both of them. We got to have it.
All right, let's take a quick commercial break. We're going to come back and talk some poll numbers with John Brummett of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette right after this.
Arkansas Electric Cooperative Corporation provides electric energy across 2/3 of Arkansas. This is an exciting time in our energy history, with incredible progress being made in renewable energy and storage technologies. As our energy portfolio continues to diversify, we'll maintain an all-the-above strategy to provide reliable and affordable electricity. Ever since the first light bulbs were placed in our members' homes, the electric cooperatives have been the solutions provider for our members, and we want to continue that well into the future.
Each day, the promise of our nation begins again. Arkansas and America, moving forward. I help make that promise a reality. It's not for everyone, but people everywhere depend on us.
Oh, I love you too, sweetie.
Trucking delivers, or everything stops. And that's what drives me.
I did.
Welcome back to Talk Business and Politics Daily. I'm joined by John Brummett of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. All right, let's drill into our latest Talk Business and Politics Hendricks College survey results.
Very interesting.
Let's begin with President Trump's numbers.
Yeah.
We see an additional decline for the president. He's fallen from 60% in February this year to 47.5% approve, 45.5% disapprove. That's within the margin of error. Are you surprised to see his decline in Arkansas, knowing how pro-Trump this state has been?
Well, in the national context, 47.5% approve and 45.5% disapprove, which is what you found, is much different from the national figures. The Wall Street Journal nationally had a poll that his approval is now low 30s and his disapproval is high 50s. So Arkansas remains, even at your polling showing steady decline in Arkansas, entirely different from the broad national view. I'm not surprised, because here's the deal. When you poll a man, any candidates, negatives and his positives, approve or disapprove, you are polling that individual against himself.
Mm-hmm. At that moment in time.
The 45.5% who disapprove of Trump of Trump in a general sense, which does not mean that all of those 45.5% will vote for a Democrat against him. In fact, quite the opposite. We've seen in recent years that that having a D by your name in Arkansas is an insurmountable curse. So, yeah, Trump is declining in Arkansas owing to his sometimes buffoonish behavior, I think. But that's only in the context of Trump versus himself. It's not in the context of Trump on the ballot in Arkansas against a Democrat who's going to be called a gun controller, who's going to be laden with gay and transgender issues, going to be laden with the abortion choice issue, who's going to have Pelosi, Schumer, Obama, and Hillary wrapped around his or her neck. In last November, a lot of people told exit pollers to the question, do you trust Donald Trump to be competent? They said no. Who did they vote for? A percentage of those voted for Hillary Clinton anyway because they disliked or hated her more.
Trump.
Or voted for Trump anyway because they disliked or hated her more, or they just wanted to turn the government upside down. I think that would still be the case. So it's interesting, but at this point, 1 year into a 4-year term, what we're getting is Trump versus Trump. And Trump is his strongest opponent. That's the way I see it.
I'm going to wrap these other three all in one fell swoop because I think that it's interesting to dissect them as a group here. Governor Asa Hutchinson, 45% approve, 26.5% disapprove. Tom Cotton, 46 approve, 39% disapprove. John Bozeman, 35% approve, 36 disapprove. Tell me why Asa Hutchinson is doing better than Tom Cotton, John Bozeman, or President Trump.
What you have there is evidence of actual discernment in the Arkansas voters, which is they can distinguish between who's in Washington and part of the federal political system, which they detest more, and who's in Little Rock, where they think they're doing a better job. So Asa ought to worry a little about a 45% approval, but that's not.
He's got a 20-point gap.
Yeah, but there's a 20-point gap,
nice
and his disapproval of 25 or 26 is like pretty healthy, and it shows if he's got a disapproval of mid-20s, and Bozeman is at 36 and Cotton at 39, that shows that people can discern between the things they're mad at. They're not mad at state government. They're mad at the people who are in Washington who maybe because they couldn't get Obamacare repealed, or maybe because of the whole matter of how Washington politics is unfolding. It doesn't mean, again, that Bozeman or Cotton is in any trouble because we don't have the Democratic negatives to factor into the occasion. They're running against themselves. The other interesting thing is that Bozeman, our senior senator, for context, Cotton is 46% approve and 39 disapprove.
Right.
Bozeman is 35% approve and 36 disapprove.
Yeah, with 29% unknown, which he's always had a very high undecided, no opinion.
He is the man in Arkansas politics who isn't there. He's kind of invisible. That 35% that's his approval, that's the same small minority that says in your poll that America's on the right track. So he just gets a generic vote. He's not known. It's remarkable the extent to which he could have achieved what he's achieved in terms of lofty office, reelected to it by overwhelming margins.
Yeah, big margins.
And people still
60%.
don't know who they voted for. They're telling your pollster, John Bozeman, is he that undertaker over Stuttgart? I'm trying to place him. You know, they don't know the name or who he is, so he gets a very generic number. But it serves him well in the current
It's
climate.
worked for over 15 years in politics.
Yeah. And I think it's the same story with the congressman. We didn't poll the congressional districts because your samples aren't large enough. But I think we'd find the same approval, disapproval, because this has to do with general voter anger, disaffection toward the government they're seeing in Washington. It just happens that the Republicans are the incumbents who are getting the high numbers, having nothing to do with how the elections might eventually turn out.
Dr. Jay Barth says that Tom Cotton has his own brand as well, but you have seen him come out publicly and distance himself from some establishment GOP positions on immigration, for instance, on being out there in the front on some of the health care reform, the repeal and replace, and some foreign policy issues as well too, which might explain why
he's better known. He has a higher
Exactly.
profile, so he's at 46, 39. But I'm telling you, 39 isn't healthy for a disapproval rating.
His numbers, and I'll just say this in context, his numbers have traditionally always been within 10 points or less of each other. He's
kind of
since
a
day
lightning
one,
rod, as
right.
I well know. He's a lightning rod for me. But none of this suggests any seminal change in Arkansas political mood. In fact, more of the same. We don't like government in Arkansas. And
But it
the
is
people who are
interesting
in-
to note that I think Republicans are mad that not enough is getting done. Democrats are mad at what's attempting to get done, and independents are mad at Republicans and Democrats. That's
there
my
you
big
go.
takeaway.
There you go.
Summary.
You had another finding about the Razorbacks. We're going to talk about that.
You want to
About
do
Bielema?
that? Yeah, you want to talk about Bielema's numbers?
Well, I think in this piece I'm writing forthcoming, I'll just talk briefly. Your question is, and this was asked before the Ole Miss
That is
magical
true.
comeback.
Right.
This was after the Auburn game, which was the most outrageous route I believe I've seen in modern history.
Well, last year's
compared
Auburn
to the
route
last Auburn
was
route. Should he be fired? And it was like
24.5%.
24.5%, so yeah, and 30 said
31%
no.
said
But the
firing.
plurality winner is 44% who had no opinion. There was a time in this state when 44% would not have no opinion about the state of the football team.
Right.
There is a change happening in Arkansas regarding our once official state religion. It may not be the Razorbacks anymore. That 44% at a time of this great upheaval in the program would simply not have an opinion.
Yeah. When Bobby Petrino had his motorcycle accident and we polled, it was a single digit no opinion.
Yeah, everybody
on that one.
had, but that got into
It got into a lot more, right?
Issues. Still, yeah, and I just think it used to be that you could drive through the state during a Razorback game, and the state's closed down. I don't see that anymore. I mean, the conversations the days after, the water cooler talk is not always Razorbacks. The obsession is less, and that's probably healthy for the state. But it is worth noting. My personal obsession is still strong. I would tend to tweet.
So
this
is your
game.
Twitter obsession
Well, that's
with the Razorbacks.
the tweeting reflects my obsession.
All right, we'll see
See what?
if you get this audition that you're after.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Working on it.
I just
All right.
don't.
He's John Brummett with
I
the
deserve it, but
Arkansas
I'm not gonna
Democrat-Gazette.
get it.
As
All right.
always, good to see you.
You bet, buddy.
See you, my friend. All right, that's all for today's program. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.